Congress passed a short-term spending deal Thursday, sending to President Trump a bill to avert a partial government shutdown and setting up a heated budget fight later this month. Trump has indicated that he will sign the deal, preventing a government stoppage that had been set to take effect at 12:01 a.m. Saturday. The deal does not resolve numerous debates over domestic spending, immigration, and funding for the military that brought the government to the brink of partial closure, leaving party leaders with a new December 22 deadline to keep the government open. There are clear obstacles to any longer-term deal, and leaders of both parties are demanding concessions in exchange for their members' support. Democrats are pushing for the next government funding bill to include increased domestic spending, legal status for undocumented immigrants brought to the United States as children, and other party priorities. Some Republicans are pushing for increased defense spending, while others have made shrinking the government their top objective. Republicans have majorities in both chambers of Congress, but they cannot pass spending bills alone. In the Senate, a 60-vote supermajority is required to pass most major legislation, and Republicans control 52 seats. That means negotiating with Democrats, who have pushed to maintain their own domestic spending priorities, as well as policy initiatives on immigration, health care, and more. Trump himself cast doubt Wednesday about the prospects for a deal, telling reporters that Democrats want to have illegal immigrants pouring into our country, bringing with them crime, tremendous amounts of crime. A shutdown over the issue, he said, could happen. The chairman of the House Freedom Caucus, a group of hardline conservatives who have bucked GOP leaders on past government spending bills, warned that any bipartisan deal on spending risked a Republican revolt later this month. It takes two bodies to put something into law, and the president's agreement to a caps deal does not mean that it is fiscally the best thing for the country, Rep. Mark Meadows, RNC, said. I want to avoid a headline that says President Trump's administration just passed the highest spending levels in U.S. history. The short-term measure passed the Senate 81-14 and passed the House 235-193. Congressional leaders of both parties went to the White House on Thursday afternoon to begin talks with Trump on a long-term spending pact. Trump again elevates shutdown threat, even as tensions ease on Capitol Hill. We're all here today as a very friendly, well-unified group, well-knit-together group of people, Trump said at the start of the Oval Office meeting. We hope that we are going to make some great progress for our country. I think that will happen, and we'll appreciate it very much. The meeting broke up without any specific deal reached, but the parties said in separate statements that discussions would continue in the coming weeks. The Republican leaders said immigration should be a separate process and not used to hold hostage funding for our men and women in uniform, while Democrats said they would continue to press for action on the urgent, bipartisan priorities before Congress, including domestic spending and passage of the DREAM Act. Speaking to reporters Thursday morning, House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, D. California, laid out a host of Democratic demands, including funding for veterans, resources to fight the opioid crisis, and the passage of a bill granting legal status to hundreds of thousands of Dreamers, immigrants brought without documentation to the United States as children.